Hey y'all, good morning. All right, y'all, I got a bunch of books I'm gonna tell y'all about right here. So I'm gonna move them right here. Don't let me forget. Let me get into my cross-legged seated so I can tell y'all about today. What's today, Wednesday? Yeah, so Wednesday. Hey girl, hey shower girl, what you doing? Whew. All right, here we go. So, good morning. Good morning. Here we go. Today I'm going to kind of continue from yesterday, and I'm going to continue with from yesterday when I started talking a little bit about, hey Piff. So y'all know what I talked about yesterday, and just kind of like this good morning girl. I'm gonna call you Piff. You waiting on me, Shira? I know I'm waiting on me too, girl. I'm for real waiting on me too. But all right, y'all. Let me stay focused. Y'all know I'll be struggling to stay focused. Here it goes. What's up, brother? All right, here it goes. I'm gonna start. I always do this because I'll get excited, don't I, y'all? Hey, Rodney, Jefferson. All right, Rhonda. This is what we're talking about today, and this is y'all. Again, up this morning after my yoga practice, it was like all these thoughts. But then I went into some of my notes and looked at some stuff that I've written in the past. So we're focusing on Mother Africa, and I talked about just the raping of Mother Africa. And I've given you all a couple examples of how Mother Africa has been raped. But she hasn't just been raped physically, she's also been raped spiritually. And Black bodies have been taken, children taken, and now we have a good number of people of African descent that have always had this yearning to want to connect with her, to connect with Mother Earth. And a lot of the practices and things we do, we actually do them in a way of trying to connect. Y'all know where you've seen people wear like traditional African garb or clothes or just beads. And I mean, even like if you think about the beads, this is the Yoruba beads from the Yoruba culture as far as waist beads, but then other spiritual practices as well. So let's start here. Because we're going to be talking about spirituality, y'all, I need to help y'all. Anytime people talk about spirituality or religion, people start getting a little triggered or activated, right? So right now, we're going to tap into our ventral vagal. And if you know about the polyvagal theory and all of that, we're going to tap into our ventral vagal, which helps us to stay and feel safe. So everybody place your right hand on your heart. Chuck, place your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your cheek, okay? So right here, right now, we are placing our left hand on our cheek and our right hand on our heart in a way to connect with our ventral vagal. And this is also a way, you all, to help calm us down so that you don't feel threatened, right? So Arturo, hey brother, right now I'm just helping us get in touch with our ventral vagal by placing the right hand here and left hand here. So everybody do that with me because we're going to be talking about spirituality. And when we talk about spirituality, y'all know people get worked up. But I don't want anybody to feel threatened. So right here, right now, here's your opportunity. So everybody, we just going to take a breath here. It's so common for people to get triggered or activated. Hey, you need some calming too, brother. Right here, right hand on your heart, left hand here, connecting with the ventral vagal. And y'all go research that yourself. Go study the polyvagal theory and look at the ventral vagal and the dorsal vagal and think about, and go study and learn about all that, okay, y'all? I'm just giving y'all a few little nuggets. But right here, we're going to stay here for one more breath, and then I'm going to tell y'all about this. All right, we're just keeping our nervous system in a state of safety. And at any point while I'm talking, if you feel like you're getting a little activated, go ahead and get yourself back to a state of safety, okay? All right, here we go. Let me look at some of my notes to tell y'all because y'all know I'll be all over the place. So there's this logic called terra nullius. So terra nullius is this assumption by Europeans and whites that nothing existed prior to the white people that came to Africa or went to Africa to underdevelop Africa, right? So when the oppressor came, when there was this descent of Christian whites and their concept of religion coming to Africa, they had a few intentions, and one of those intentions was to make African spirituality as pathological as possible, right? As secular, as pathological and secular. And then y'all, this is when this word dark became adopted. You know, when we think about the word dark and when we hear dark, things are dark or black magic, a lot of that is tied to this intention of Christian whites, Europeans, to come to Africa and to basically make it pathological, like to pathologize it. How do you say that word? I can't even talk right now. Y'all with me? So we had that agenda, and then the missionaries' agenda, the white European, the Europeans' missionary agenda didn't just include this idea, and it really wasn't about, you know, let's go in here and love these people. It was the taking of what they described as God's own country. So when they looked at the lands of Africa and the beauty of it all, some even described it in different writings. It was described as the beauty of Eden. It was untamed and uninhabited, and where the white man could go and rediscover his innocence. Okay, so just going into Africa, this is how it was viewed. And to put it plainly, this logic of the terra nullius that I'm telling you about, it was really the obstruction and obliteration of African institutions and traditions. Y'all hear me say that a lot about how Europe underdeveloped Africa. And there was an intentional act of that. And I don't know if y'all know about Fanon and his work, but y'all could go read Fanon's work, Fanon. Y'all could go read that. Y'all could do this studying just like I do, okay? So going on, the oppressors made demon the spiritual traditions of African people, and we still practice a lot of these. And a lot of times we don't know that the Christianity that people practice here, there's a rich, like a deep connection and use of some of the symbols, the images, and the customs of African spirituality practices, right? So we have these traditions that include totems, initiation ceremonies, naming customs. We have spiritual healers and diviners. We have this sacred concept, and it's very similar to Native American practices, where we have these sacred concepts of the cosmos, the role of the mediators, experiences of spiritual presence, and then also the elements, right? You hear a lot about the elements of power, force, authority, and just this vital energy that comes out of spiritual practices in Africa, y'all. So it's just kind of like this complex mix of beliefs that are neither attributed to like a single founder, right? Or not a particular one recorder. It's just kind of like this volume of all these different things. And let's talk about specific to West Africa, because many of us who are here in the U.S., our ancestors were brought directly from West Africa, right? Y'all know that West Africa was really raped, right? So specific to West Africa, we had the cosmos in some of their spiritual practices. You had the cosmos consisted of the supreme God, the intermediary gods and goddesses, and then disembodied spirits, ancestors, and then humankind. So we had deities and spirits, including the sun, the moon, river spirits, thunder gods, and just different forces of nature. Doesn't that sound very similar to Native American practices? And I don't know if you all know this or not. It was a very intentional practice to basically make Native American spiritual practice pathological as well by white missionaries from Europe that came to this land, as they came to take this land just like they came to take the land in Africa. So y'all stay with me. So furthermore, with West African practices, there was not a concept of good or evil, right? Both principles what it looked like was both principles resided everywhere. So there's kind of like, just like how I say all the time, like, I don't believe in this evil entity that's coming to get us. In spiritual practices, historical spiritual practices, the evil and what we see as the dark or demonic things are those things that are in our life that we need to remove. Like, let's use the word, let's use gluttony, or let's use some of these concepts as just greed. Those are the dark and evil things that we have to overcome. It's not like it's this external entity that's coming for us. It's the dark things within us, right? And that's when people be talking about, oh, the devil is a lie and the devil busy. I'm like, are you talking about yourself? Because we got these evil things, or if we want to call them evil, we got those things within us. Y'all with me? Okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff and I got to get moving, y'all. I got so many notes here. I ain't going to tell y'all all of this because y'all going to be like, we got to go, girl. But are y'all familiar with Dr. Edwin Nichols' work? and his chart of philosophical aspects of culture. I'll put his chart down in the comments. So he considers this value system and this method of knowing and the logic and ontology of ethnic groups. And it's an amazing work that he shows. But he shows how African American, Latino, and Native American cultures, that their value system is very much person to person, right? And the highest value within these people groups, the highest value is in interpersonal relationship. It's a showing of self-worth is often determined by the quality of relationships. And then their method of knowing in these people groups, it includes feeling, intuiting, intuiting, right? Symbolic imagery, rhythms and patterns. And then you have, when you talk about the European or the Euro-American, their value system is person object. And y'all, when you start to look at, you start to observe and understand some of the behaviors of white people. If your value system is person object, your highest value is about acquisition of object, right? And your self-worth is determined by the numbers or the size and monetary value of the object, right? Do you all get what I'm saying? It's not person, it's person object. And then one knows by measuring. Do y'all see that so often in our world, in our society of standardization and outcomes, where we focus on the outcomes and the whole process is just ignored and not valued at all? Ooh, I don't even need to talk about that because y'all know I work in higher ed and I don't even need to talk about that. I need to take a pause. Actually, let me go ahead and put my right hand here, my left hand here, because I can get worked up about that, y'all. Let me take a breath. So anyway, let me just go ahead and talk about this cross-culturalization of what we have shown up in Brazil. We have the Macumba, the Umbanda, the Candomblé, right? And then in Haiti and New Orleans, we have the Vodun or the Voodoo, in which, again, white Christianity has tried to make pathological those practices. Do you hear me? So even in Cuba and Puerto Rico, we have Santeria. In Jamaica, you have Obeah and Mial. And in the US, we have Hoodoo. There's just so many practices that have been pathologized by white Christianity. Y'all with me? I got so much stuff, y'all, and I can tell y'all a whole bunch more. But let me just jump down to this because I want you all to go do Heart and Face. Right, Chuck? Let me go right here. I want y'all to go do your own research. And I want y'all to look up the Dogon people of Mali, M-A-L-I. And I want you to look up the Serer of Senegal, right? And their practices. And the Yoruba and Igbo of Nigeria, okay? And their practices. And ancient Egypt and Kemet, right? I want y'all to go look up the spiritual practices from there. And how a lot of Christianity's practices is African spirituality misunderstood and restructured for a European's benefit. Do y'all hear me? Go look up Horus and Mary, right? Do y'all hear me? Okay, and then I was going to say this, and this is my last thing. Let's everybody put our right hand on our heart, our left hand on our face. But what a way to rob a people of their identity, right? To make pathological their way of knowing and being. Think about that. What a way to rob a people of their identity and their purpose. And y'all know our purpose is rooted in our identity. Our identity is about knowing who we are, like really knowing who we are and whose we are. But what a way to rob a people, right? Our hope is even tied to our identity, right? So y'all, let's just go ahead and breathe with that. And then I want you to go ahead and look at how you show up and what you know and how you were taught the things that you know. And I want you to look at the things that you know, was it made to be pathological? And look at if some of your practices today are very colonized and you need to go decolonize yourself on your thinking and your ways. So y'all, let's stay here for one more breath. Right hand on the heart, left hand on the face, Chuck. But yo, you need to go chase you. Oh, let me go ahead. Let me show y'all a couple of books, okay? Because you can go grab these books just like I did. So this one is looking at the Orishas, right? Y'all see that? 7 African Powers, the Orishas. Finding Soul of the Path of the Orisha. Y'all can look this book up. Go find this book. Oh, these, just when we talk about Egypt, ancient Egypt and Kemet, we could talk about numbers are simple, but then looking at like numbers and numerology out of Africa, right? So King Simon has this book written. And then we have this book, Africa Counts. Y'all see? So numbers and patterns in African culture. So y'all remember what I said about we are intuitive and rhythms and patterns, and all of that is deeply rooted within us. Okay, y'all, I've been on here a long time. I'm about to get off. Oh, Chuck, you can close or open your eyes when you put your hands there. So go ahead, open your eyes, Chuck. All right, y'all got enough for today? We got enough for today? Okay. I'm glad we got to breathe together, y'all. Let's breathe together all the time. And y'all know healing requires recognition. We got to recognize that some of this, it ain't for us. So stop swallowing this. All right, y'all. Have a good Wednesday.